Welcome to The Topic, where we highlight Houston Community College, our students, our programs, and our reach into the community. I'm Todd Duplantis. Thanks for joining us today. If you're watching us on HCC TV, social media, YouTube, well, you can download all of our audio podcasts at hccs.edu/podcasts. Well, on today's show, we're going to be talking about the Small Business Plan Competition, particularly the 2020 Business Plan Competition. Joining me today is Sandra Louvier from the HCC Center for Entrepreneurship and Austin Tenette, Entrepreneur in Residence at HCC. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Great to be here, Todd. Thanks.
I want to go through what the Center for Entrepreneurship is first, then talk about your titles too, to give people an idea of what we're talking about. Center for Entrepreneurship. Sounds self-explanatory, but what exactly is it for at HCC and who's welcome there?
It's for assisting proposed, startup, and existing entrepreneurs in launching and growing their businesses. And we do it through workshops and seminars.
Okay.
We have a small business success series. We have connections with the entrepreneurial ecosystem around town. And it's for people from the external community who are coming back to get just what they need to know, to do what they want to do with what they already know to turn it into a business. But it's also for HCC faculty, staff, and students.
And is this similar to an incubator? That's what the term, I guess, is being used. Is it very similar to that, Austin?
Yes, there's some elements of an incubator. So each of the four HCC campuses have a slightly different focus.
Okay.
So I'm the entrepreneur in residence at the Northeast campus, and one of the things that I'm working there with the campus president on is building an incubator of sorts that would focus on more skilled trade types of professions.
And you mentioned something real important because around the city, we have different needs for different communities. What they're needing at the Northwest College is probably different than the needs for the entrepreneurs who go to the Northeast College, correct?
That's a great point. When we look at, let's take for the Northeast, that's the one I'm most familiar with. Unfortunately, it's probably one of the most economically depressed areas within the greater Houston area. The opportunity there, obviously, is because of the industrial base within 10 or 15 miles of that area, creates unbelievable opportunities for those skilled trades, think technicians, things of that nature, and then we are able to be a resource to the community in those professions.
And Sandra, you mentioned something earlier, I guess, that's real important. It's not just for folks in Austin as well. This is not just for folks who are looking to launch a new business. If you have an existing business you want to improve, you're welcomed here as well, correct?
That's right. That's right. The Center for the HCC Business Plan Competition is actually a citywide competition, so people from all over the area can apply and enter the competition.
Let's talk specifically about the competition.
Okay.
What are the deadlines? When is it launched? When does it take place? How long does it take place? How many students do you have involved? Things like that.
Okay. It starts right now in January. Teams are applying, and the application deadline is January 30th.
Okay.
And then if they'll find out whether they've gotten accepted into the competition in February, and then there's a period of training and one-on-one advising in the competition that starts on Tuesday, February 25th, and then there's 2 more training sessions in March and 2 more in April. And in our competition, plans aren't due until May 6th, because the biggest part of the competition and one of the most unique parts of it are that people get to move through the training and advising to refine and polish their business assumptions. So it's designed for all teams that are accepted to come out with stronger plans that can help them take action on achieving their goals and on securing financing. But there also is prize money too. Finalists, plans are due on May 6th.
Okay.
Then finalists present to judges on May 21st. And then we celebrate all our completer teams or graduating teams on May 28th. At the West Houston Institute, and we often have all teams that get into the competition graduating. They get in-kind prizes too, and we award prize money to the top 5 teams.
We've had several of the success stories on our show over the past year, and Austin, we're talking a wide, diverse types of businesses.
Correct.
From one helped with getting permits, another one was growing some type of wheatgrass. That, and we're talking across the board with these businesses, but they all said they learned something from working with each other, and I guess working with you, an advisor as well, correct?
Yeah, this is my second year with the program as an advisor and as a trainer, and I've just been unbelievably impressed with some of the skills that we share with our either existing or aspiring entrepreneurs. All the entrepreneurs are expected to go through a 5-session training workshop, which is covers sales and marketing, financial projections, risk management, leadership, and then most importantly, or as importantly, is my idea viable? So we take them through that, and then there are some prerequisites that really sort of drive home how important the financials are. In fact, Sandra's going to be leaving us here and going back down to the Southeast campus for the all-day financial workshop. That's one of the prerequisites for the participants. And in that one, they take the business owner, the entrepreneur, aspiring entrepreneur, through the entire business cycle as it relates to finances. What is it going to take me to start up, the cash flow that I need to maintain the business, and then how do I use my financial statements to assess the health of my business as an enterprise? Yes.
You've seen several of these success stories going through. You don't, and I'll ask both of you, you don't need to win this competition to be a success story or to get something out of the competition from what I'm hearing after talking to several of you.
I would agree with that wholeheartedly. So when I'm not doing my HEC work, I'm a business coach. And my mantra is, it's not so much the plan, it's what you become as you go through asking yourself the critical questions, and most importantly, as you interact with others around your assumptions. And that's really where the strength of this program is. So last week when we had our kickoff, a person who did not win came back and spoke, but she's created this unbelievably successful enterprise, and I don't know how it happened, but she wasn't a so-called winner.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to me in talking with several of these that what they took home. And it seemed like they all had different goals. Some of them wanted to maybe get their finances in order to apply for the right type of loan to get their business. Other ones may want to increase their business, but they all had unique goals, but they could still get something out of this.
That's right. Yeah, because we have people that are coming in with an idea and they haven't started the business yet, or they've just recently started, but they realize they really need to get more organized to create an actionable plan if they're going to continue to grow it. And then there's people who've been around for quite some time, and now they want to grow further, but they understand that they better get their act together and vet their business assumptions and handle it correctly. Otherwise, they're not going to, they might put their existing business at risk.
Is there a cost for the competition?
Well, the financial workshop is offered at a reduced price of $25, and it's a prerequisite to applying for the competition.
Okay.
But there's no application fee in the competition, and if you win a prize seat in the competition for your team, then all the training is free and all the one-on-one advising is free. So it's,
and that's invaluable, really, when you get that one-on-one training, because you do advising with these groups one-on-one. Correct?
That is correct. So throughout the 3 or 4 months of the competition, we're meeting with our mentees weekly, bi-weekly basis, making sure that they're staying on track, and as importantly, sort of helping them be that sounding board as ideas or questions come up as it relates to their ultimate plan.
Austin Tenette, entrepreneur and resident at HCC Northeast. Thank you for being here today.
Good to be here, Todd.
And we've got Sandra Louvier. You're going to stick around, right?
Yes, I'll stick around.
You're going to stick around on the show. We're going to bring on more in speaking with someone. We're going to talk with one of these entrepreneurs. After we take a break, we're going to talk with one about the business plan competition and what they hope to do once they gain the knowledge and get out there in business. We'll have more on the topic coming up. I'm Todd Duplantis. We'll be right back. Welcome back to The Topic. I'm Todd Duplantis. Of course, we're talking now the HCC 2020 Small Business Plan Competition, joined by Sandra Louvier from the HCC Center for Entrepreneurship. And who better to learn about the business plan competition than one of our former winners, 2015 business plan winner, William McMordie from Texas Swim Academy. Texas Swim Academy.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Tell me first off about what type of business you have. It's obviously a swim academy. We know it involves swimming. Where are you guys and what exactly do you do?
So right now we're out in Katy, and we're a dedicated Learn to Swim facility. We really focus and excel on survival swimming. So children of all ages and abilities, getting them safer in the water and getting them to where it's a good family experience for everybody.
When you went into this competition, what were your goals?
So at the time, we'd really kind of maximized on our facility, and we were ready to expand. And so we kind of thought a natural progression would be to explore the competition aspect of swimming. Right now, we're educational services, so we really focus on that, and we use the business plan competition as a way to really vet out what it would take to get into the competitive arena, do it the way that we really want to, and serve the community the way we feel like they deserve. And so the business plan competition gave us an opportunity to really write that out, vet it, have people who aren't in our business look at it and learn what we're doing, and really create a strong plan going forward.
Were you successfully able to bring in more competitive swimmers? I know we were talking a little bit before we went on the air. I do a lot of swimming in my free time for competitions and stuff, not professional, but just for triathlons. And so have you guys been able to expand into that, to bring in triathletes and others like that?
Yes, we have. We had a lot of success growing out. We definitely pivoted several times, but that's the strength of the business plan competition and really learning what the document is. It's kind of living and breathing, so you always reassess.
Right.
And so we took some pivots from the plan that we put together for the competition, but it grew into a healthy swimming team. And then as the area developed out and more people were serving it, we decided to step back and really focus in on the educational. But it's definitely had an impact on the way that we treat our higher end swimmers. So we do get a lot of adult master swimmers come around, and people that are ready to swim for their high school or competitive team, and we really polish it up in addition to that survival swimming base that is kind of our bread and butter, making the community happy, safe, and have fun in the water.
Sandra, is William's story typical of the ones who enter in these competitions? They have an existing business, but they're looking to just maybe grow it or change, in his case, looking at doing something different with that business.
Yes, and I think he brings up some great points about how the competition is all about bringing together people that are going to start the business and work on it together, or people who are already in the business together, and then developing a strong plan that they're all going to be responsible for implementing. And so a lot of people come through the competition to learn how to work together and decide, is this going to be a viable team? Or in William's case, his parents had started the company, and he was only 21 when he was brought into the competition and into the business with them to develop a plan for him to come into more leadership. And so they used the competition to bring him to the forefront. And when they made the finals, they put him up there as the presenter, and he won at age 21 for his family, the competition. That's amazing. Now he's 26 and he's vice president. And his father's stepping into a retirement role. His mother's still active, and their plan has evolved maybe 20 times since the competition, but everyone believes in the plan, and they're living and breathing this as a strategic plan. So that's music to our ears, because that's what the competition is all about.
And you mentioned something earlier that was very important, or at least I thought was important. You were bringing in people who aren't in the competitive swimming business, or who don't know anything about swim centers or what you have, and you're having them take a look at something that's foreign to them to get their input. I imagine that must have been invaluable and also kind of interesting as well.
Absolutely. I think it's critical to have people outside of your industry and outside of your business definitely looking at your plan, because you know what you do so well that you kind of have the opportunity to take for granted some of the insider knowledge that everybody you're speaking with has. So, for instance, one of my advisors on our team owned a car dealership. And so he had the business and the customer service savvy and everything, but he wasn't as familiar with swimming. And I don't think I've ever had anybody help us check our assumptions to a higher degree and really make sure that everything was fleshed out. And so I think getting that outside expertise and getting the mentorship and the peers that you really develop relationships with throughout the competition has been one of, if not the most valuable thing about it, and it continues to have value for us 5 years out. We still keep up with a lot of the relationships that we made, and they're people that we've really come to trust, and their opinions are invaluable, and the fact that they aren't our same industry and our peers
Right.
in that way makes them even more so just a great asset to have in your network.
Sometimes, I always hear in the business world, there's nothing like hiring somebody and just bringing in a new, fresh set of eyes, because you get so close to your business and so close to your industry that you just don't necessarily think at it from another way. And I guess this helps people to give them another way of thinking about what they're doing for a living.
That's right. That's right. We had a reception recently where some of our past alumni came forward, and we asked them, "How did it help you?" And a couple of them said, "It helps us better understand how to ask for help and get help and process the help that we're being given." So I think it's a great learning experience and an evolution for the contestants as they move through this competition that's spread out over the spring.
Give me some other examples. You mentioned a few success stories, but outside of William and his success, we brought some folks in here. Maybe you can highlight a few of those real quickly.
Okay, yes, you referred, I think, earlier to...
I talked about Permit Us.
Yeah,
Remember
Permit
that?
Us, now
Yeah.
Helen Collier. She
Yeah.
was an existing business owner, and she wanted to develop one idea that she had on a growth plan that she hadn't developed yet about starting a new division called Permit Us Now.
Yeah.
She came in and she moved through the competition. She said, it's like having a baby. You have one baby and that works well, but if you don't put all the same muscle and thought into the next baby, then it doesn't necessarily mean that baby's going to go do just as well as the first baby you had.
Right.
And so she launched after the competition. She didn't win any prize money in the competition, but she's now got contracts all over the state with HEB, and she helps small business owners as well. So she actually comes back and donates prize money to the competition every year, even though she didn't win any prize money in it.
Right. Tell me about the guy who grows the wheatgrass.
Yes, I remember you liked him.
I liked him. He was able to give me a few supplements I used, and it was pretty cool.
Yes, he was Saul Allen Barrera,
Yeah.
and he's changed the name of his company since, but he thought it was kind of funny, and it was funny. It was called Grass on the Go.
Yeah.
But he said that people didn't always understand specifically, like with Texas Swim Academy,
You
what
know
it
what
is.
they're doing, sure.
With Grass on the Go, you might consider it to be not necessarily legal in Texas
Yeah,
yet.
exactly, yeah.
Or you might consider it to be a landscaping company.
Yeah, you don't know, right?
So
right.
he's
It's kind of
changed it.
ambiguous name.
Right,
Yeah.
but what he does is he grows wheatgrass and sells it, and it's been
He does
very
beets too.
Yes.
He juices beets.
That's part
and
of his
super beets.
expansion.
Yeah. That was great having him in here.
So
And-
he's been able to get more funding to grow further and expand new product lines as well. So he didn't win prize money in the competition either, and he was just getting started. So he was considered a startup when he went through the competition.
Well, we're going to bring Austin back in a few moments and talk with him more about the business plan competition, how folks can get involved, and we'll touch on a few more of these success stories because
Okay.
we have a few of them as well that we met with. William McMordie, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having
and
me.
Texas Swim Academy out in Katy. Good
Yes,
luck
sir.
to you guys out there, and best of luck in your business. And of course, we will be back on the topic with more. We're talking HCC Small Business Plan Competition, the 2020 version. Coming up, stay tuned.
This is Mac. She's ready to build herself a house and a business. But first, she's building her resume with a construction certification from Houston Community College. HCC, for everyone, anytime.
I've seen people's lives change just by attending a class at HCC.
Some of them might not have the financial means to go to a four-year university. That doesn't make them any less quote-unquote smart than the kids who go to a four-year school.
HCC is easy to get to. It's easy to apply and easy to become a part of.
It gave me so much confidence.
Once you finish your 2 years there, you can transition into a four-year university or go into the workforce.
It's affordable, it's accessible, it changes lives.
Meet Saskia. She loves cars. Seriously, she whistles at them. So she's studying engineering at Houston Community College. After that, a 4-year degree. Then it's off to the races. HCC, for everyone, anytime.
Welcome back to the topic. We're talking about the 2020 HCC Small Business Plan Competition here on the show today. We've been featuring all the information you need to know, especially if you have a small business, you're looking to get into the competition. Sandra Louvier and Austin Tenette joining me once again. Thanks for being here. For folks wanting to get into this competition, let's talk about, once again, what they need to know and how they do that first. Sandra?
Okay. Well, everyone's applying right now. And it's for proposed startup and existing entrepreneurs. So all of them have to take a financial workshop. They just need to sign up for that financial workshop and make sure they're there and they attend it. That's one part of the application. And then the proposed and the startups, we consider a startup anyone who hasn't yet achieved 6 continuous months of net profit. They need to take a pre-qualifying class or program. And the other pre-qualifying classes are Small Business Management at HCC, Entrepreneurship and Economic Development at HCC, or they may have already completed our Small Business Success series of workshops. The other 3 sister programs that we consider pre-qualifying prerequisite are graduation from the U of H SURE program, or graduation from the Liftoff Houston Business Plan competition, meaning they've done all the training and submitted a plan in that competition. Or the third one is if they graduated from the Houston Area Urban League Small Business University. So if they've done any of that, that counts as their pre-qualifying class.
Okay.
If they still need it, they can sign up for a quick online continuing education class at HCC called Creating a Successful Business Plan.
And that's tied into the whole competition, that class there?
It's tied into pre-qualifying them to
Okay.
apply because it helps them move through the components of a business plan without a plan being due at the end of it. But that way it helps them draft some of their assumptions, which gets them better prepared to handle the rigors of our competition and to submit a strong application. So we want them to sign up for that. It's $119. They can sign up like in a couple of minutes.
Okay.
And if they take the self-paced class, they can run through the 12 lessons, which take about 2 hours each, fairly quickly, and complete the class while we're reviewing applications.
You know, you mentioned something about assumptions with businesses, and Austin, I'm going to ask you, what's the biggest misconception when you're working with folks? What's the biggest misconception that some may have?
I think one of the biggest challenges that I see both with the business plan participants and then even in my business coaching practice is really understanding what the needs of the client are. When we talk about innovation, really innovation comes from not so much addressing sort of the obvious need, but it's what is that unmet need? What is the job that the customer is trying to achieve? So sometimes we miss it. So if you think about, just a quick example, if you think about Netflix and Blockbuster Video, they were pretty much in the exact same business, providing theatrical entertainment. They just went about delivering it in a very, very different way. So it's those kinds of things, is getting them off of center to think a little bit differently, more innovatively, and I hate to say this, but more out of the box about who their customer is and how do they serve them.
Well, that's a big part of marketing, you know, working in communications and marketing here
Yes.
at HCC. You know, we have to know the audience and what their pain points are, what their
Correct.
needs are, and what do you have to provide for them? I guess that's something you work with these folks on as well.
Absolutely. That since I teach the business model marketing and sales workshop, those are exactly the things that we talk about. And but again, there's where their challenge is to really think about alternate ways to, again, serve a client's needs. And as we know, as businesses scale, you have multiple decisions to make as it relates to how we sell. Think of sales, different sales and marketing channels,
Right.
and of course, there's this thing called the internet.
Yeah.
That confuses
Instant knowledge, at least.
Exactly, and I think one of the other misconceptions, back to your earlier question, is I think so many people believe that if you hang a website and get an SEO somebody or other in there, that internet marketing riches will be yours. And for most, it's just not the case.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Sometimes SEM and SEO aren't going to get you to the top where you want to go to the promised land. Sandra, you mentioned something earlier about startup businesses, and let's cover that once again. Because if let's say somebody has a little cater business on the side, they're working a full-time job, and the business really has been somewhat profitable but hasn't really turned over a lot of money. Do they still need to apply as a startup with this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
so
that's a great example of a
Right.
startup. So it may be a home-based business, it may be something they're working on the side. Now they want to create a plan to grow it further. So oftentimes we feel that they need to take these pre-qualifying classes just to make sure they're really fleshing out a business plan and they've got some ideas about the plan before they get into the competition. But then they'll have some time within the competition to further refine and polish the assumptions that they're making.
And if you have an existing business and you want to increase, you're welcome to this competition as well. This is for really small business. How do you define a small business?
Well, we have solopreneurs, micro entrepreneurs, and then, William and his company has, I think, 20 employees now, and they grow
Right.
it further during the season. So small business owners, I think, are everyone up to
Really?
99 employees, right?
You're right.
Sometimes up
So
to
it's a
500
pretty big
employees.
audience.
Yes.
Yeah, most companies in the United States are small businesses.
Yeah.
And so most people who work for small businesses should be thinking in an entrepreneurial mindset as well, which is why the competition is so amazing, because you can bring a team into the competition
Yeah.
to develop the plan together.
And that team is made up of who?
Usually the owner or owners. We have mom and pop.
Right.
Teams that come in, and we have people that are going to be doing the sales and marketing or the operations, be part of the team. But we also have one-person teams come through, somebody who wants to do a food truck, or someone who's opening a service industry, and they always do well. They make it to the finals, so you can enter as a one-person team as well.
Austin, someone may be working full-time and they're doing this side business, and it's keeping them very busy.
Correct.
How much time are they going to be investing in this competition if someone's interested in doing that?
So the minimum 4 to 5 hours a week, because you've got a
Okay.
couple hours where you're coming to the workshops that we talked, 5 workshops that we talked about, and then of course they've got to spend time offline with their advisor, an hour or so a week, and then of course they've had to spend time with their leadership team or their co-founding team to continue to fine tune and develop the idea, the concept. So at a minimum, it's 4 to 5 hours a week.
We'll give them milestones within the competition to help them stay on track
Okay.
as they're moving through the different sections that they'll be required to submit in their business plan. So if they stay on track and they put in time every week, they're better off. And it also depends upon how much work they've done on their plan already.
Do you find many of them are coming in very well prepared with this?
All different levels, but I think the ones that do best in their application are the ones that have thought through some of their business assumptions. And for us, a strong application is really important. So my tips for a strong application are pay attention. We want a resume on every person in your team, so make sure you've got a resume ready to upload, because it won't even let you move from one page to the next until you've done that. And then there's some great questions that help the applicant tell us about the proposed plan, the proposed business venture, and that's our way of understanding whether we think it would be a solid team moving through the competition and it's a developable idea. So the application is important, and it helps them advance their plan anyway. In fact,
Ultimate thing we're looking to do. Sandra, we are running out of time, but real quickly, the website they go to, we're going to flash it real quickly on the screen.
it's hccbpc.smapply.io.
Sandra Louvier, the HCC Small Business Plan Competition 2020 edition, and Austin Tenette, entrepreneur resident. Thanks for being here on
Thank
the
you, Todd.
topic.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. hccs.edu/podcast. That's where you can download all the audio podcasts of this show. I'm Todd Duplantis. We'll see you next time.